Hi, it's Roni, and welcome to Mixed Media Frenzy. That's where we all take the same layout or sketch, and today it is going to be a layout, and it is just so cute, isn't it? It is adorable. And so, yeah, mine's going to go along those lines pretty good. I am going to vary just a little bit because I am going to add a cluster in the upper left-hand corner. Now, the original layout shows a face close up. And I was tempted to use a different photo, but that was my other grandson in a baseball uniform, and he was farther away, and it showed his whole body. And I thought, nope, I really need to use a face close up because as busy as the background is, it'll make the picture show up better if I do. I am using my arrow roller on there in a couple of different colors. And I think that roller is by Glitz. I have not heard of them lately, so I don't know if they still have product available or not. But I like roller stamps. They go on super quick, and I don't really mind if they're not super straight because I think it just adds to the homemade look of your layout. I use my close to my heart stippling brush to put little places all over the background. And then there's this little smiley face that I've had forever and hardly ever use it, hardly ever think about using it. But I thought I'd put it on this one just just because I liked it and thought, well, I'll see if anybody even notices it. And although I stamped it several times, only one is actually going to show up when I get done with the layout because I end up covering them up with something. Part of the little smile part on one shows up, but you can't even tell that's what it is because it's such a small amount that does. The inks that I use for the smushing technique and for the splattering is water can and then the rusty hinge. Yeah, even though there is no rusty color in this photo, I use the rusty hinge. I love that one. So while I was waiting for my layout to dry, I thought I'd do the layering for the photo, and I liked it all askew on the bottom. And I'm going to end up putting, well, over there in that little bowl on the left-hand side, it has a bunch of fussy cut stuff. So I will be putting some words along the lines of sports cut from a Teresa Collins paper. And I think everything else on here is Cartabella. And I think it's called baseball. I do. I think that's what it's called. And it is kind of a vintage line. I am going to layer a couple of them with the black. And I'm doing all this thinking my layout needs to dry. However, I am going to pull it back over and it's still wet. And so I'm going to let some of the droplets roll down the page. And then the ones that were refusing to roll down the page like I wanted them to, I'm going to just smear them with my finger and then go ahead and scrap with my damp background. Now the word slash phrase paper that was from Teresa Collins, it had words like ball game, baseball, sports, no pain, no gain. And then I'm also cut out some banners from the Cartabella, and they're like ninth inning, outfield, and team player. Although I put the layers behind the photo all askew, I still wanted my photo to be straight, so I'm using my T-square ruler for that. Oh yeah, besides the fussy cutting ahead of time, I did use my Artful Arrows, which is by Tim Holtz, to cut out well, I think it's about the smallest arrow that was on the die, and a couple of times a different one got cut out too. I layered it. It will layer pretty good when you're using those steel rule dies. But I was using scraps and one was a little bit bigger and it cut the other one out. And I'm going to end up using one of the others on my layout too. All the arrows are pointing towards the photo, just like in the original one. At least I think it was. I am not sure now that I said it and the words came out of my mouth, but that's the impression I got. We'll look and see. Well, by the time I get the voiceover done, I will have a picture in the upper left-hand corner. Instead of actually cutting out the baseballs that I decided to scatter on the page like they did with their, well, it looked like a reinforcer that they scattered around the page. I'm going to use the baseballs instead from the Cartabella paper, and it does have a super tiny bit of blue around the outside edge, but I like that. I think the balls showed up much better with the blue around there, kind of made them highlighted. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of the photo, you will see a cross with two bats, an X with two bats, and a baseball with a mitt, and they were all fussy cut out too. I took that same paper with the bats and put behind his picture. It's like the first layer behind the picture. Now, when you first look at the inspiration page, it look, well, you can tell it's grungy. You can tell that right off the bat. But it has lots of little extra things, plus doodling. And I am going to put doodling on my page, but not right now, not quite yet. They also have stamping, well, words stamped on the page, but instead I am using the little phrase cutouts, fussy cutout things. And I thought I'd make it a little more colorful instead of having it quite so monochromatic. Although I guess I could have used colored inks. But I think my stamps that I would have wanted to use are bigger than what I would have wanted to use, word wise. I also used my chevron punch to make chevrons to go like arrows on the page. And they had some pointing towards the photo, plus some that were kind of backwards to each other. A few more than what I've got here. But I think my picture's bigger, so I took up more room with it. So I had less room for chevrons. I thought about using my star confetti punch, but I decided to use the star border, well, as a corner punch instead, because I wanted them smaller to go on the page. And so I'm going to stamp out several, quite a few, and just put them around the page. Well, they're going to be around the cluster itself. That said, I did go ahead and put a cluster up in the upper left-hand corner. I couldn't resist. And I'm looking at it now thinking I need some stars up there just to make it match the huge cluster at the bottom right. It is totally amazing what I will notice while I'm doing the video editing on my layout and think I should or shouldn't have done that I don't even notice while I'm doing it. I am doodling a border around the outside edge of my page because I couldn't think of what to do next. And I'm putting X's on it. But if you've seen for a split second, well, maybe 4 or 5 seconds, I had a red Sharpie. I was tempted to put like little stitches to match the baseball. However, I chickened out. I decided I didn't want to have to do my whole page over. But now looking at it, I could have just cut the edge off and put black behind it to make it go back to a 12 by 12 and just move my doodling in farther. But that red was pretty bright, so I don't think I would have been happy with it. I am putting 3 banners in the upper left-hand corner. They're not going to be super wide ones, but a couple is going to be longer, and then I'm going to put a tiny sort of kind of cluster thing there. And one of the arrows, I'm making sure the guy with the bat and that's up to bat and he's actually got his bat is there where you can actually see him if you want to take the time to look. And I am going to use the only sticker on the page up there in that cluster. I'm going to put the word action and layer it, and then I'm going to use a sticker that's got a baseball and says play ball. And it don't match the other ones because it has more red, but I still liked it up there. And this is where I remember that, yeah, I need to have some mixed media up in that upper corner. And again, I did the same things that I did before. I used my stippling brush and the 2 colors, plus I used the rusty hinge. But I want to make sure I point out that down below you'll see the links for the other gals that are using the same sketch that I am for their inspiration. And I think today only Krista and Kathy's playing besides me, and mine's late. Theirs is probably up a long time before mine, but at least they got it done. Late's better than never. I was having a few problems, so late is definitely better than never. On my title, instead of using a hyphen, I used an asterisk because there was no hyphens in there, and I would have had to cut one of the letters or numbers apart, and then I seen the asterisk. I thought, that'll work. So it's Our All Star is the title. And yes, that is my layout. I am done with my layout. But if you all leave a comment down there below, I'll get back with you. And I appreciate all the comments that you leave. They really make my day. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And there's that little cluster with the only sticker. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. And those of you who already are, thank you so much. But yeah, that's it. That's my layout. And see all the grunge look? It looks really good on here with the close-up and the little doodling. I did those little circles. Usually I skip it because I think, what if I mess up? But then I thought I could put a star over it this time. So yeah, there's my layout. And I hope you all have a happy, scrappy week. Take care and stay safe. And try this sketch. Use it as your inspiration. It's too cute not to. Have a happy, scrappy week. Take care and stay safe. Bye.